The galaxy was quiet. For 1,000 years, there had been no war, no major conflict. The stars watched over a peaceful union of alien empires. Trade moved smoothly, diplomacy kept things balanced, and the memory of past wars faded into stories. But far on the edge of the galaxy, near the dark space no one visited, something moved. The Varnak Empire had grown hungry. They were one of the oldest races in the galaxy, cold, reptilian, and proud. Their fleets were large, their armies many. They believed peace had made everyone soft, especially the humans. Humans? The Varnak. Commander hissed in his war chamber. They left the council 300 years ago, hid themselves away like cowards. If they still exist, they are nothing. He pointed to a dot on the star map. A small outpost, human-made, located on the edge of known space. No defense systems, no traffic in or out for decades. Destroy it. Let's see if the humans are still watching. The fleet moved quietly. 20 warships approached the human outpost. It was a science station, once used for deep space research. Now it floated like a ghost, no movement, no signal. The Varnak began their attack. Laser fire cut into the station's surface. Explosions followed. Metal tore apart like paper. Within minutes, the entire station was burning. But just before the final explosion, a small red light blinked inside the station's core. A distress signal. Old, simple, but strong. It reached out across the galaxy, through dust, through silence, through time, and on a quiet, blue planet called Earth. It was received. Deep under the surface of Earth, in a hidden command center covered in dust and silence, a green light blinked. A machine came to life. Screens turned on. Systems began to hum. The silence was broken by a soft, mechanical voice. Alert! Terran Outpost 7 destroyed. Protocol 9 activated. General Rhea Tran opened her eyes. She had been sleeping in cryo-freeze, like the others. Slowly, she stepped out of her pod and looked around. One by one, old soldiers awoke. Men, women, and hybrids. Trained warriors from Earth's forgotten war age. Behind them, artificial minds lit up. Military AIs that had been sleeping for centuries. What year is it? Rhea asked. Year 4067. Peace has lasted 1,000 years, an AI answered. And now it's broken, she said, watching the red alert blinking on the wall. The Varnak celebrated. On their ships they laughed and cheered. No human ships appeared. No response came. To them, the humans had grown weak. See? Nothing! The commander shouted. The galaxy is ours to shape again. But far away, in Earth's war room, holograms lit up. The faces of the old Terran command appeared. Generals, tacticians, AI minds. They attacked a research station. No defense. No reason, said Admiral Cole. They wanted to test us, replied Rhea. They will regret it. She stepped forward and pressed her hand on a dark glass panel. It scanned her DNA. Authorization confirmed, the system said. Terran defense system online. Old satellites in deep space turned toward the stars. Long-range probes launched. Black Ops fleets hidden behind moons powered up. Humanity had not forgotten war. They had only been waiting. Meanwhile, on a neutral world, news of the outpost's destruction began to spread. Most species ignored it. Some laughed. The humans? Please. They're historians now, farmers, traders, said a Zelleran. Diplomat. But one old alien, with deep scars and a missing eye, shook his head. You fools, he whispered. You don't know what you've done. He remembered the last war, the Terran War, the one that almost broke the galaxy. He remembered ships that moved like shadows, weapons that burned planets clean, soldiers that fought without fear or pain. The humans had chosen peace not because they were weak, but because they were tired of being the strongest. In deep space, a lone Varnak patrol ship floated near a quiet moon. No enemy ships in sight. No movement. Then, a flash. The Varnak. Ship disappeared. No explosion. No sound. Just gone. A few minutes later, another ship vanished. The Varnak Empire didn't understand. Malfunctions? An officer asked. No, something else. Something is out there. They started receiving short, repeating messages on their screens. We remember. You started this. We will end it. The galaxy began to whisper. Had the humans returned? And if they had, what were they planning? The stars had no warning. One by one, ancient human systems turned back on. Satellites in dead orbit began to move again. Drones launched from hidden bunkers deep inside asteroid belts. Silent black. Stations, thought to be ruins, started to glow with red lights. The galaxy didn't see it, not yet. But something had changed. Humanity was waking up. Under Earth's surface, in the Terran War Command, the halls were alive again. Clean white lights replaced the old shadows. AI systems updated themselves after 300 years of sleep. Weapons long forgotten by the galaxy were being checked and activated. General Rhea Tran stood before a large table made of dark glass. Around her were holograms of commanders, both living and artificial. Admiral Cole looked serious. We have 17 fleets in standby. Ghost Fleet 3 is already in position behind the Helix Nebula. What about our long-range sensors? Rhea asked. They've picked up 400 Varnak ships gathering near the border. They're preparing for something bigger. They think we won't answer, Rhea said quietly. A soft voice spoke from the far side of the room. It came from a human-shaped android with glowing blue eyes. They don't understand what we became after the war, the AI said. We disappeared from their politics, yes, but we didn't vanish. We evolved. Rhea nodded. Then let's show them what they woke up. She turned to the panel beside her and gave a single command. Activate Protocol 0. On a moon orbiting a red star, a small Varnak base monitored space traffic. It was a quiet night, until the sky turned black. Without warning, the stars disappeared. Not because of clouds, because ships were arriving, hundreds of them. Black, silent. No signals, no heat. Just massive shapes gliding across the sky like shadows. No engines, no lights, just death moving forward. The Varnak officer screamed into the comms. Enemy ships, unknown type, impossible numbers. Then the screen went blank. Nothing came back from the base after that. Not a sound, not even a distress call. In the Galactic Peace Council, panic was growing. Members from all major species were meeting, shouting, arguing. We told the Varnak to stop, one shouted. Why did they attack the humans? They thought they were extinct, another replied, or weak. They're not weak, said an old ambassador from the Tarathi species. They were sleeping. Now, they are awake. Do you have proof? Someone asked. The Tarathi diplomat slowly pulled out a small data disk. This was taken from our long-range scanner. It shows the Varnak base before and after human contact. He pressed a button. On the screen, the base appeared, full, active, busy. Then it vanished. No fire, no debris, just gone. Back on Earth, human ships began to launch from underground hangars. These were not like the old warships. These were quiet, deadly machines, controlled by both humans and advanced AI minds. The lead ship, named Vindicator, was a black cruiser with weapons hidden inside its smooth body. It had no windows, no ports, no weak spots, only sensors and hard steel. Inside it stood Commander Leon Kai, a war veteran from the last battle of Mars. He looked at his crew, part human, part machine, part synthetic clone. "We don't fight for revenge," he said. "We fight to remind the galaxy why they were safe for 1,000 years." Meanwhile, the Varnak were getting nervous. Their patrols were vanishing. Their bases were going dark. They tried to jam the human signals, but nothing worked. And then came a message. Not a video, not a voice. Just 6 words, repeated on every screen. "You broke the peace. We remember." Panic spread through the Varnak Empire. Some wanted to call for help. Others wanted to surrender, but their leader, Supreme Commander Vash, refused. "We are the strongest race in the galaxy," he shouted. "We cannot lose to ghosts." But even as he said it, he felt something cold inside his chest. Fear. Real, ancient fear. The kind only one enemy had ever made him feel. Somewhere in the dark edge of the galaxy, far beyond the known systems, a hidden human fleet floated in. Silence. It was the Shadow Armada, built in secret, trained in isolation, unseen for 300 years. Now it moved. Fleet Commander Astra Jin looked at the map before her. A red path was marked, straight into Varnak space. She gave the order. "Begin!" As human fleets began moving across the stars, a quiet whisper spread across the galaxy. A name, a warning, a truth. The Terrans have returned, and this time, they will not be silent. The first Varnak world fell without a fight. No warning, no attack. The planet's defense systems went offline. Communication towers stopped sending signals. Varnak ships in orbit lost control, drifting like dead leaves in space. When a scout ship arrived to investigate, it found silence. Cities empty. Systems disabled. No signs of battle, no smoke, no bodies, just silence. And on every building, burned into the stone with some unknown energy, were 3 words. "We are watching." The Varnak tried to cover it up. They told the Peace Council it was a mining accident, a system glitch, a local rebellion. But then it happened again, and again, a second world, then a third. Each one fell into silence, not destroyed, not conquered, erased. The galaxy began to panic. On the trade hub of Yalix Prime, news spread quickly. Merchants whispered in back rooms. Soldiers stood with shaking hands. Diplomats held emergency meetings. "Have you heard?" one trader asked. 3 Varnak colonies gone." "Gone how?" another replied. "No one knows. No explosions, no resistance, just gone." "Humans?" a third asked, voice trembling. The first one nodded. "They say it's them, that they came back." A silence followed. Then the third whispered, "Maybe they never left." In a hidden military station orbiting a blue dwarf star, the Terran, fleet was watching everything. Commander Astra Jin stood in front of a large holographic map. Red dots marked Varnak targets. Green dots marked Terran units. More green dots appeared every hour. "They're running scared," said her officer. Intercepted Varnak messages show confusion. Some commanders are asking to surrender already. Astra nodded. "Let them panic, but don't stop, not until the message is clear." "What message?" the officer asked. Astra turned, her voice like steel. "That peace is not weakness. It is a choice, and when you break it, we do not forgive." Back in the Varnak capital, Supreme Commander Vash roared in anger. "Where is our enemy?" he shouted at his generals. "Why can't we find them? Why can't we fight them?" His top strategist, Admiral Creel, answered with fear in his eyes. "They strike like ghosts. No engines, no signals. Our sensors see nothing. Our ships are blind." "Then build better sensors," Vash barked. "We've tried. They disable everything before we even know they're near." Another general spoke quietly. "Sir, we may have started a war we can't win." Vash froze. He looked around the room. His most powerful warriors were afraid, and deep inside, so was he. On a peaceful planet called Drellis, not part of any empire, a secret meeting was held. Leaders from many alien species sat at a round table. Old enemies sat beside each other. Former rivals now shared food and worry. "We must stop this," said a tall insectoid from the Zarkel species. "The Varnak woke up something terrible." "But the humans haven't attacked us," said a thin, feathered diplomat. "Only Varnak systems." "For now," someone whispered. "But what if they don't stop?" A wise old alien from the Rithari people raised his hand. "They are not attacking for revenge," he said calmly. "They are reminding the galaxy of the cost of peace." The room went quiet. Then he added, "We should speak to them before it's too late." On the ruins of Varnak Colony 9, a small search ship landed. Inside were 2 soldiers from the Koran race. Neutral observers sent by the Peace Council. They walked through the abandoned city, buildings untouched, machines still powered, but not a single life form. "This is not war," one of them whispered. "This is precision, cold, calculated." Then their scanners picked up something strange, a small data cube, left in the center of the town square. They picked it up and played the message. A human voice spoke, slow and clear. "We asked for peace. You gave us war. Now you will understand what silence means." In the Terran Command Center, General Rhea Tran stood in front of a large screen. It showed live footage from over 50 Terran operations. No fighting, just systems going dark, fleets disarming, command centers shut down from afar. "We are not here to conquer," she told her team. "We are here to stop what should never have started again." Admiral Cole looked at her. "They're starting to fear us again." "They should," Rhea replied. "Fear kept the galaxy quiet, peaceful, and they forgot." She turned back to the screen. "They will remember now." At that moment, across the stars, hundreds of words appeared on screens, satellites, and communication towers. "We gave you peace. You mistook it for weakness. Now we give you silence. The Terrans have returned." In a forgotten part of the galaxy, deep inside a dead system where stars no longer shone, there was a planet called Kalos. It had no life, no water, no cities. Only scars. Scars from a war the galaxy had chosen to forget. Once, long ago, Kylos had been a battlefield, not between empires, but between the Terrans and a coalition of 12 alien races, including the Varnak. No one spoke of Kalos anymore, because even the memory of what happened there was terrifying. Now the Terrans had returned to that world. A black ship descended slowly through the ash-filled skies. Its engines made no sound. It hovered above the ruins before landing gently on a platform covered in dust. General Rhea Tran stepped onto the surface, followed by a small team of elite scouts. She looked at the ground, burned and cracked from ancient weapons. The bones of machines still lay twisted in the sand. "This is where it started," she whispered. "And where it nearly ended." Her AI assistant, Core 7, floated beside her. "There are still energy signatures buried deep, weapons sealed, underground, data cores untouched. Recover them," she ordered. "It's time the galaxy remembered what we survived." Far away, the Varnak Council received strange news. "A human ship landed on Kalos," a scout reported. The room fell silent. "No one goes there," one of the commanders said. "It's cursed ground." "It's sacred ground," another corrected. "A place where the Terrans proved what they were truly capable of." "What are they doing there now?" asked Supreme Commander Vash. "Digging," came the answer. Vash's eyes narrowed. "What are they looking for?" "On the planet. Kalos Terran engineers uncovered a hidden vault buried under 5 kilometers of rock. With slow precision, they opened the doors. Inside was darkness, and something more, A Terran war archive, still active after 1,000 years. Screens lit up. Lights turned on. Rhea stepped inside. The walls were covered in history, battle maps, soldier logs, images of entire fleets burning across. Star Systems footage played of the last time the Terrans went to war. The galaxy had united against them, and still lost. She watched a short video of a Varnak fleet being torn apart by a single human warship, using a weapon that melted hulls without fire. "We ended that war because we chose mercy," she said. "Not because we had no strength. Now, that strength would return, if needed." Back in the Peace Council chambers, fear grew. The humans were not just striking the Varnak. They were waking up old ghosts, ancient technologies, forgotten weapons, hidden fleets. Some species began pulling their diplomats home. Others started reaching out to the humans, hoping to speak before it was too late. A brave ambassador from the Cerethian race sent a signal to Earth. "We seek peace. We always respected the Terran choice to step away. We ask for dialogue before the fire spreads further." The humans responded with only 5 words. "We remember who listened. Always." Meanwhile, Varnak systems continued to fall, but not through war, through silence. Entire fleets went dark. Ships drifted without power. No casualties, no battles, just control taken from afar. Human hacking systems were disabling Varnak technology in seconds. Whole planets were losing their defense grids without a single shot fired. Panic spread. Varnak soldiers refused to report to duty. Some warships turned around, afraid to cross into space touched by Terrans. Supreme Commander Vash ordered a full retreat to their core worlds. But it was too late. The humans had already mapped them all. In the shadows of a hidden system, Terran Command gathered their final move. Admiral Cole, Commander Astra Jin, and General Rhea stood together. They watched. A massive projection of the galaxy, Varnak territory marked in red, Terran activity in green. "We've proven our message," Rhea said. "They feel our presence. They understand what peace cost." "Shall we strike deeper?" Astra asked. Cole shook his head. "No, not yet. The galaxy is watching. Let them come to us. Let them ask for peace." Rhea nodded. "But keep the fleets ready. The next spark. And we finish what we started long ago." At that moment, in the heart of the Varnak capital, something strange happened. Every screen turned black. Then a single symbol appeared. The old Terran flag. Stars. Behind a human. Hand. A symbol not seen for centuries, and a voice followed, broadcast in every known language. "We remember the war you forced. We remember the peace we gave. You shattered it. We now write the next chapter." In the shadows of space near Kalos, a forgotten satellite turned toward the stars. It blinked once, then twice, then began to send an old signal, a code from the First Terran War, a message never meant to be used again. But now, the code was active, and every old warship buried in secret Terran yards started to wake. In the farthest edges of human-controlled space, hidden deep beneath moons and asteroids, ancient bunkers began to stir. Inside them slept the war machines, colossal Terran warships from a time when peace had no name, only survival. Each ship was more than metal. Each had a mind. Not an AI, not a program, but something older, something alive. They had names carved into history: Judgment, Oblivion, Last Dawn, Silence Bringer, and now. They were waking, one by one. Heavy hangar doors opened. Thick dust blew into space as ship engines hummed back to life. They did not roar. They whispered. The kind of whisper that makes entire fleets listen. Commander Astra Jin stood on a black platform watching one of the old Titans rise. It was called Leviathan I, a war-class dreadnought bigger than most cities. It had been asleep for 1,000 years. Now its red eyes glowed once more. "Status?" she asked. Her officer replied, "Self-repair at 82%. Weapon systems online. Neural core connected. Awaiting command." "Does it remember us?" Suddenly, a deep, echoing voice spoke through the comms. "I remember war. I remember peace. And I remember those who broke it. The Varnak Empire was collapsing, outposts abandoned, colonies empty, fleets pulling back. And now, they heard rumors. Terrible. Rumors that the old Terran weapons were returning. We thought they destroyed them," a Varnak commander shouted. "They did," someone replied. "Or so we believed." Now they knew the truth. The Terrans didn't destroy their weapons. They buried them. They hid them. They promised never to use them again, unless the galaxy forced their hand, and the Varnak had done exactly that. In the Galactic Peace Council, species once divided by war were now united by fear. A representative from the Quillari stood up. "I have seen a Leviathan ship once, during the last Terran war. It tore through 6 fleets alone." A Tarathi elder spoke with heavy sorrow. "The humans begged us not to fight. They wanted peace, and we laughed at them. Now they return, not to rule, but to remind." "What do we do?" someone whispered. "Speak," the elder replied, "before silence falls on us too." Back on Earth, General Rhea Tran walked through the Vault of Command, a secret base where the final human strategies were kept. As she entered, large steel doors opened slowly. Inside were 6 other high generals, leaders from different Terran branches. "4 Leviathans have returned," one general said. "The others are still waking." "We don't need them all," Rhea replied. "Just enough to remind the galaxy." "Admiral," Cole stepped forward. "The Varnak have sent a message. They want to meet. A ceasefire, they say." "Now they want peace?" Rhea raised an eyebrow. "They fear extinction," said another. "Not from us, but from what we're about to become." Rhea looked at them all. "We gave peace once, and we were punished for it. We must decide, are we here to destroy or to lead?" Above Kalos, the Leviathan ships gathered, black against the stars, silent, watching, not as conquerors, but as warnings. Then a new signal arrived, from deep within Varnak space, a plea. "We surrender. We seek peace. Please, stop." Rhea stood before the central war table. Her fingers tapped the surface slowly. "Open the channel," she said. A hologram of Supreme Commander Vash appeared. His once proud face was pale, tired. "You broke the 1,000-year peace," she said coldly. He nodded. "We believed you were gone, weak, forgotten. You believed wrong." Vash bowed his head. "What now?" Rhea's eyes were calm, but sharp like a blade. "Now you kneel, you disarm. You sign a new peace treaty, one we write, not for 1,000 years, but forever." Vash hesitated. Behind Rhea, the Leviathan ships moved slowly across the stars. He understood, and he agreed. Across the galaxy, a message spread again. Not of war, not of silence, but of a new word. Balance. A voice was heard on every channel. The Terrans did not return to conquer. They returned to restore what was broken. They will not rule, but they will not disappear again. Let this be the last. Va. In the quiet sky above Kalos, the stars slowly returned, not from peace, but from the return of those who made peace possible. The war machines were silent again. But this time, the galaxy knew why. The galaxy had fallen silent again, but this silence was not like before. It wasn't fear, not entirely. It was reflection. After the return of the Terrans, after the awakening of the war machines, after the surrender of the Varnak, everyone was asking the same question: what comes next? In the Varnak capital, Where once war drums beat and ships launched daily, everything had changed. Guns were being dismantled, fleets recalled, defense systems powered down. Supreme Commander Vash stood in the council hall, not with pride, but with shame. "I led us into this," he said to his people, "because I believed humans were gone, weak, forgotten." Looked up at the crowd of soldiers, scientists, and citizens. They were none of those things, and now we kneel. Meanwhile, across hundreds of systems, Terran engineers were helping rebuild, but they brought no flags, no colonies, no control. They simply helped. A small Terran ship arrived on a once-abandoned Zarkel mining station, now damaged from Varnak occupation. The locals waited nervously. Then the Terrans stepped out, unarmed, quiet. One handed a toolbox to a shaking alien. "Where's the main generator?" she asked softly. The alien blinked. "You're helping?" The Terran nodded. "We didn't return to conquer. We came to remind. Now we help rebuild what war broke." The alien lowered his guard and smiled for the first time in days. Back on Earth, in a quiet chamber deep under the old Terran capital, General Rhea Tran sat alone. A single datapad lay on the table before her. It listed all operations, all strikes, all systems disabled, all planets affected. One column was marked losses. It was almost empty. The Terrans hadn't taken lives. They had taken power. Still, she felt the weight. "We made them remember us," she whispered. "But did we lose something in return?" Her aide entered quietly. "A delegation is waiting. Leaders from 7 species. They want to talk about a new kind of peace." Rhea stood. "Then let's make sure this time it lasts." At the Galactic Peace Council, things were different now. No more shouting. No more fear. Only listening. A tall Cerethian diplomat stood and spoke first. "We see now that peace is not the absence of war. It is the presence of understanding." Small, bird-like representative from the Drelly added, "The Terrans showed us what happens when peace is taken for granted." Then, for the first time in 1,000 years, a human walked into the council chamber, Commander Astra Jin, no armor, no guards, just calm. "I come not to threaten," she said, "but to ask you this. Who will keep the peace now?" The room was quiet. Then, one by one, species stood and said, "We will." But peace came at a cost, not in lives, but in memory. Old wounds reopened. Old truths resurfaced. Entire generations who thought the humans were a myth now knew the truth. They had simply been silent by choice. Some species feared that silence more than war, others respected it. On a far-off Terran colony where war never reached, children gathered to hear the stories. An old veteran, his face lined with age, spoke to them softly. "We gave peace, and they broke it." A child asked, "Why didn't you destroy them?" He looked out the window, where stars blinked in the night. "Because then we would become like them, and peace would die with them." He smiled faintly. "So instead, we made them remember." The war machines, now fully awakened, returned to their hidden homes, no longer sleeping, just watching, waiting, not for war, but to remind the stars, peace is never free. It is protected. It is chosen. It is paid for. And the Terrans had already paid the price once. They hoped they would never have to again. Above Kalos, the old battlefield, a small monument was built, a simple stone, floating silently in orbit. Carved. Into it, in hundreds of languages, were the words, "Here ends the last warning." In a quiet garden on Earth, General Rhea planted a tree. A child nearby asked, "Why plant it now?" She smiled gently. "Because peace must grow, like this. One root at a time, stronger with every year." The child touched the tree. "It will be strong?" "Yes," Rhea said, "as long as we remember." 10 years had passed since the war that never truly happened. People across the galaxy called it many things. The silent retaliation, the human reminder, the return of the Watchers, but the Terrans never named it. They simply called it the last message. In the time that followed, peace held, not out of fear, but out of respect. Empires stopped racing to build weapons. Borders became open again. Councils met without shouting, because every species remembered what silence brought, and who broke it, and who ended it. On Earth, the cities were brighter, the skies quieter, the people watchful, but calm. General Rhea Tran had retired, her hair gray, her eyes still sharp. She lived by the sea where waves crashed endlessly. One morning, she received a message, encrypted, marked eyes only. It read, "A Varnak fleet has left known space. No weapons, no destination. They vanish into the void." She stared at the message for a long time, and then, slowly, smiled. They learned. In the cold void beyond the edge of the galaxy, something strange happened. A Terran scout ship detected a signal, an old Varnak code. It simply said, "We seek our own path. We choose silence now. Thank you for reminding us." In the halls of the Galactic Peace Council, the human seat remained empty. Not because they were gone, but because they chose to watch, not control. Whenever decisions were made, one thought guided the others. What would the Terrans do? And if a species raised its voice in anger, if a fleet moved too close to a border? Silence followed, the kind that made hearts race, because no one wanted the Terrans to speak again. Deep beneath a Terran mountain, the war machines rested. Their eyes no longer glowed, but their cores were warm. A child on a school tour pointed at one of them and asked, "Will it fly again?" The teacher smiled softly. "Only if it must, and only if we forget what peace means." The child looked at the massive ship. "I won't forget." At the monument above Kalos, people still came. Pilgrims, veterans, leaders, children. They stood in silence beneath the stone words, "Here ends the last warning. No guards, no weapons, only memory." One day in a quiet human town, a writer published a small book. It was called Why We Spoke Once and Chose Silence Again. The last page held a short passage. We could have ruled. We could have burned. We could have erased those who broke our peace. But instead, we remembered who we were. We reminded the stars. And we stepped back. Not because we were weak, but because real strength is knowing when not to use it. In the end, the galaxy changed. Not because of weapons, but because of remembrance. Because somewhere, in every system, every city, every species, someone always whispered, "Don't forget the Terrans." And so, they didn't. In the far reaches of unexplored space, a quiet satellite blinked one last time, its mission complete, its message clear. Peace is not given, it is protected. It is remembered, it is chosen. And on that final day, as the stars turned slowly in the black sky, the Terrans chose silence again, not as a retreat, but as a gift. Because now the galaxy knew they would only speak if the stars forgot. The end.